J is for January. January brings us reflections with the two-faced god Janus. Janus has one face looking back, reflecting on history, gathering the wisdom from actions that have transpired before. One face looks forward, taking that knowledge, using it so we don't make the same mistakes twice. It's a great story. This Cellar Dweller video is all about story. We've got it broken into 4 parts. First part, Matt Marshall pulling great barrel samples. We're going to taste a 2024 Broken Rock Cab that he was just pulling and running numbers on. Then Jenny and Rob are going to talk to you about labels. We want to set you up for success from the beginning. So it's really honing the story, figuring out what parts so that when your image is captured on that 2-inch by 3-inch canvas upon the label, it's reflective of what the story you're trying to tell with your wine. Then we're going to do a little blast from the past. We're going to take a story where we learn about winter practices in the vineyard. We're going to be taking a look at pruning and cover crops. Finally this month, story. We're dipping into the mailbag. Donna from BY Cellars has a question for us. Look forward to hearing from that. Several members from the team will respond. But first, Matt Marshall, the cellar master, if not in title, in heart. Matt, you were just pulling barrel samples and you brought up the 2024 Broken Rock Cab. What do you got?
Yeah, this is the 24 Broken Rock Cab. Broken Rock is one of my favorite vineyards in Napa. I've actually had the opportunity and pleasure to visit there, and it's incredible what they're doing. They're reinventing the way dry farming is being done, and it really shows off in the wine. Bill Hill's obviously an iconic vineyard planter and designer, and it really shows. 24 was a great year for Cab. It was very warm there towards the end, which helps these cabs become big, but in a very elegant way, small. Right off the nose, a lot of blueberry and plum. Towards the end of the smell, you can get the nice bright spice that comes off of the French oak barrels that this wine has been sitting in.
Blueberry, and with French oak, we'd have Count Chocula as well.
Absolutely. At the first taste, the aroma really holds true. It's a lot of blueberry and plum and those darker fruit flavored notes. But towards the end, you really get that spice from the oak that it sits in. The tannins itself too really have a lot of great grip on the mouth, and really leaves your mouth dry and ready for the next sip.
Broken Rock, we've worked with. This has been kind of the flagship vineyard for the Wine Foundry since our foundation. You know, I've had the opportunity to work with it for 20 years. It is a favorite. Hey, thanks for pulling that sample.
Anytime.
Let's pass it over to Rob and Jenny, setting you up for success with your labels. Rob, Jenny?
Thanks, Stu. Got Rob and Jenny here. We're going to be talking about label design, making your labels, and setting you up for success and getting the best label possible. So we're going to start off and say, Jenny, so importance of filling out the label design worksheet.
Super important. It's really important to fill out your label design worksheet. It's important to spend time thinking about what your story is. You get 5 hours of design time with your first barrel purchase. It's not a lot of time, so you really need to come to the table with your wine name, with the idea of your story, and some samples of what you like in design and what you don't like. What wine labels catch your eye when you're in the wine store? And what stories really hook you in? It's all about the story. And then we can go from there, and it's super fun to design your wine label.
Yeah, and so we've had customers bring in different art, things for inspiration, that art that inspires them, or different like record labels, covers, different things that just kind of get the juices flowing. And they say, well, we want it to kind of feel like this. So really giving us a direction where we want to go and see the end point really helps set us up for success to get you the label that you want.
Because all I want is for you to be happy. All Rob wants is for you to be happy.
Exactly. And so on that, let's talk a little about the 5 hours of time.
Okay.
That's kind of a nebulous idea, much more in kind of the design speak. So what does that really mean? What takes 5 hours?
The 5 hours that come along with your first purchase, barrel purchase, that gives us just enough time to take the information that you've sent on your label design worksheet and change it into a printable wine label that'll look amazing on your bottle. It's super important to have your worksheet together so that we can get it done in 5 hours. If we go over 5 hours, unfortunately, we have to start charging you. So definitely your label design worksheet, it's everything. Your story is everything. Everybody has a story.
So really it's like, it's about, let's say, maybe 3 hours of design, and then maybe a couple back and forth, a couple versions, and then you hit 5. So after version 2, you've essentially hit 5 hours, correct?
Yes, yes, anywhere between 2 and 4 version, because in that time is also the time that I take care of submitting your label to the TTB and getting it ready and managing the press run. So
Yeah, perfect. So something we run into quite a bit is the difference between what is graphic design and what is illustration, because you are a graphic designer, you are not an illustrator.
correct.
Which we kind of bump into a lot. So maybe we can expound upon what you actually do, and then what the customer, if they want something else, what they need to bring to the table.
That's an excellent question. Illustration. I put together your label. I put together the illustration, the photography, whatever you bring to me, along with picking out some typefaces to help get you what you see in your mind. The minute you need illustration, we need to hire out. For that, one alternative. Second alternative is to find it in stock. Or a third alternative, and what everybody seems to be doing these days, is creating something with AI. So I am not an illustrator. I am not an illustrator.
Hard stop. Perfect.
Hard stop.
So we have a couple things in our packaging guide, some links that you can go to, which you can buy some stock photography, some stock illustration, and there's plenty of other things on the web. And so if you're doing something with us and you have something you can't find, we can help kind of guide you on that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And so after the label is done, something we run into once in a while is proofing. So importance of proofing your label.
Yes, it is so important that you take your label, you read it out loud to someone who's looking at it at the same time. Check it for everything, spelling especially. Make sure there aren't any words missing. Make sure that there aren't two words. When I'm in graphic design mode, I am not reading. I don't see words like words. We have a group of people that do look at your labels before they go to press, but it's most important that you proof your label, that you do not depend on us. And that's that.
Yeah, but again, we do proof ourselves, but in the end, you have to be the one making sure everything is correct, because, we overlook some stuff.
Yeah.
It happens.
And this is your one label.
Yeah.
So make sure.
Yeah, again, we're doing 15, 20, 25 labels each time we do a press run. And so things just happen.
Things happen.
Yeah. So hopefully this helps. Hopefully this gives you guys some ideas of how we do our process, and we can set you up for success. So now we're going to send it off to Stu. 5 years ago, Stu, and he's going to tell you about wintertime in the vineyard. Stu?
We're checking out winter practices. The winter practices in the vineyard kind of boil down to two big things: pruning and cover crops. So in terms of pruning, the crew's done about 3/4 of the vineyard, and they're going to be coming through here shortly. We've actually done some what we call pre-pruning, where they're going to be removing last year's growth. You can kind of see these canes that are here. So we're going to cut these canes back, and on the base of each cane, you're going to see like a little node where a bud for the 2020 growing season will burst forth. But that's not for about 6 weeks. What we'll do is we'll cut these canes off, put them on the ground. Eventually they'll get tilled in, and that will set the stage for next year's growth. Because what these canes do, yes, the fruit is on the canes, but these are also really important for photosynthesis. They create a really big leafy green canopy, which allows the sun's energy to be converted to allow that sugar accumulation in the fruit. Don't know if you can really see it, but on the floor behind us, on the ground, some cover crops are starting to come in. I see some pea pods, a good nitrogen fixer, and then in the next couple of weeks, we're gonna start seeing a whole bunch of, it'll look just like regular green vine, little green plants, but that's gonna be mustard. And then by March, all of this is just gonna be probably about waist high and beautiful, beautiful yellow flowers. It's a very special time to come to the valley when the mustard's in bloom. But it's kind of cool to see vines just before pruning, or even like some pre-pruning where they kind of clear out some of the really long canes, and then seeing the vines after they've gotten their haircut.
Greetings. I am excited to be joined by Donna Yelmokas of BY Cellars. Hello, Donna.
Hello, Stu.
Hey, we're excited to reach into the mailbag and hear your question. But before that, can you kind of tell us a little bit about BY? What makes BY BY?
Yeah, I can. And good morning. So lifelong friends, myself, my husband, Mark, and Brent Blackburn, have always been lovers of wine. We met at university many, many years ago, stayed friends throughout the years. Our big celebrations, our big moments in life were always around wine and shared time together with dinner and wine and so forth. So the BY is pretty simple. It's a blend of our surnames, B for Blackburn, Y for Yelmokas, hence the BY Cellar Wines. And you know, we have a weekly call on Tuesdays, and the first question we always ask are we having fun? And if the answer is never no or ever no, we will, have a lot of good wine to drink. But right now we're having a lot of fun, and it's been, a journey the last 5 years, but it's super fun.
I do like the fact that you kind of have those check-ins. So it's like you can reflect and then look in the mirror a little bit. Hey, what can we do better? What are we doing? But the main thing is how fortunate we are that we get to work with this world-class fruit, and that many outstanding winemakers never even get to touch these vineyards, in their career, and we get to play with these grapes. Pretty cool.
That's right.
Hey, so let's hear your question, and I'm excited to check it out.
Yeah, so I ran this one by the team, and we kind of came up with this kind of winemaking, but not really winemaking, but it's part of the journey for sure. So from your experience and your colleagues' experience at the foundry, and so just being in the community, we would love your take on what differentiates wineries today who are in the DTC space, direct to consumer.
Okay.
What makes a successful DTC business, and what do you see companies struggling with? And I asked this because, I'm not telling you anything new. It's a super crowded field out there with folks that make wine just like we do. We've been pretty successful, but would love to have, like, what's our roadmap for the next couple of years? Like, what do we focus on? We know storytelling is huge. What else can we lean into, and what does that look and feel like, kind of when you're building a winery from scratch?
Wow. So that is truly the $1 million question,
Right?
or it potentially could be. So how does with all of the noise that's out there on all media outlets, right? So how do you get that signal to noise ratio, as people say, cut through, so that you can be relevant and heard within your sphere, and then maybe expanding out beyond that? Fantastic question.
Oh, and did I forget to say, we have no budget. So
fantastic. So I heard
there you go.
You have a marketing department with a $500,000 budget.
Right.
Okay. So no, fantastic. So yeah, how does a small independent brand who is bootstrapping it, how do you make your mark, right? And so I don't know if there's a silver bullet. And I think you put the hammer on the head by saying, look, the team. I think sometimes with this, we kind of put it out to one person. Let's put it to a few different team members who work in the DTC sphere here, so you can hear different ideas. And sometimes they might be conflicting because there's not going to be a single answer. So we'll do it. Let's put it to the team. Hey, Donna, thanks for the question.
Thank you.
Sure. All right. Let's take it away.
Thanks, Stu.
All right, great question, Donna. Little thing about me, some people don't know. I spent the last 14 years before working here in coffee, building brands, starting companies, etc. And there's a lot of kind of crossover and similarities to wine and coffee. And in coffee, almost every brand says they buy the best beans from the best places and they roast it to perfection in small batches. And there's no differentiation point to anything between the brands. They're just saying, all of them are saying, our coffee is the best, buy our coffee. And that doesn't say anything. Wine is exactly the same. Authenticity, clarity of message, and really clarity of purpose is something that people gravitate towards. And people can tell if your brand is inauthentic and if it's just a marketing story. So what I would say was, tell your story, be authentic, and make it about you, and people will gravitate to what you have to say. And I'm going to send this off to Stu. Stu, take it away.
Thanks, Rob. You passed it back to me, huh? So you heard from Rob. You're going to hear from Jenny. Storytelling. I mean, the importance of storytelling cannot be underestimated. Like, how are you going to differentiate yourself from one of the 11,000 other wine brands out there in the United States? I mean, if you think your passion for wine is what differentiates you, you're in for a world of hurt. So my 2 cents is microcast. You've got to speak directly to your community with a laser focus on your message. And when I say community, I'm not talking about your friends and family. Like, they're a given. They are not your audience. So, for example, if you are a dentist or an architect or a pole vaulter, you have a specific nomenclature and a way of speaking that only other dentists or other architects or other pole vaulters know. Use it. Like, for example, you get your story published. If you're a dentist, get your story published in an upcoming edition of Good Teeth or whatever the industry periodical is. So hone the story, speak to those people. I mean, there's no secret in the wine foundry community that I've been a deadhead for over 42 years, right? And there's probably over 1 million people, just like there are 1 million dentists and 1 million architects. There's probably over 1 million people in the United States who consider themselves a deadhead. And there are specific turns of phrase, even single words, which show that you are a part of the community versus a part from the community. The warning here goes back to what Rob said about authenticity. If you're trying to chase dollars and the members who are a part of a community are going to smell BS right away. So that's why you microcast. There was a silly bit a lifetime ago from Steve Martin called Let's Get Small. Silly thing, worthless thing, but there is a kernel of truth within that turn of phrase. You are not competing against Robert M., the big boy. You're essentially competing against yourself. Can you find that focus and hone the story? It's my 2 cents. I'm going to pass it over to Jenny Dowell, who looks at all of the labels and tries to find how your image can be the signal that cuts through the noise. Jenny?
Thanks, Rob and Stu. You guys totally nailed it. It's about story, 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 authenticity. It's who you are. It's your wine brand. Find your people. Go to the places where you like to go and drink wine. Go to the events that you like to be at, that you're comfortable at. Pour there. Meet people. Talk to everyone. Just deliver your message. There's no silver bullet. There's no one thing. With this market being so crazy flooded, just go be you. That's all you can do. Okay, and on that note, bye.